Shalom, shalom. Lean to the side. Lean that neck to the side. So, but before I get started, I'm gonna give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Bakakadash. And I'm back out here. 126. You know, it's a new year and the same old prophecy still coming out, man. Nothing's changing. You know, I really don't even have a lesson. You know, I put it like this: I planned a lesson, but the spirit moved. And guess what we getting into, man? Jacob's trouble. Now, because the troops are here in New Orleans, man. The guard is here. We've been telling you for years, man. And they finally touched down. This was gonna happen. And you laugh, you scoff, mock at the man of the Lord. And this is just the appetizer of what's to come. You know, wait till martial law is finally declared. You know, the economy collapses. And like the scripture say, man, then you're gonna know there's been a prophet among you. You know, because you can talk to you so-called Negro, Latinos, or Native Americans until you blow in the face. You're just not gonna believe it. You have to see it. You know, Jake believe in all kind of crazy shit. You know, Egyptology. You know, Anubis. You know, segment. You know, you even got our people in the Satan worship, man. You know, them tiny hats got their heads out there in Hollywood, the music world, you know, and in the sports world, and all kind of Satanism, witchcraft, all of the above. And when it comes to these scriptures, you know, you don't want no parts of it. You know, but the so-called white man can offer you a couple of dollars, and you niggas will throw it all away, man. You know, you'll throw it all away this go around, or any go around, man, just to get a couple of dollars in your pocket. You know, but it's okay. Because Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, man, has taken notes, and they know exactly who's slated for death. You 2/3 of the nation of Israel are slated for death. You are not going to escape what's coming to you. I don't care how much you call on sweet baby back rib Jesus, it's not gonna matter. You can scream his name until you blue in the face. And he's not gonna be able to deliver you in that day of trouble, which is known as Jacob's trouble. You know, so you can scream, you can yell and not holler until you pass out, man. Not gonna do any good. Because once that kicks off, all bets are off, like they say. And it's strictly judgment after that. Straight getting the business. Getting your ass slaughtered out here in the streets. You know? You know, so let's get into it. Like I like I've been saying all through the spirit, not of my own will, is that the troops were gonna eventually come. And here they are, man. You know, we've been saying this 8, 10, 30, 40 years ago, man. That troops were gonna be on the streets of America. And lo and behold, you know, and as you see, Trump is ready to go back to war with Iran, man. You know, he's been talking to Netanyahu for the past few days, and they're ready to go into Iran again. You know, so We getting closer and closer to that day. So all this shit just going up in smoke. Because the so-called white man, he don't know how to stop, man. Especially the small hat. They don't know how to stop. And so the man of the Lord, we we all for it, man. I'm glad he don't know how to stop. He the true no limit nigga. You know, Esau Edom, man. He's the true no limit nigga, man. He don't know how to stop. So prophecy is hitting back up. So let's go to Jeremiah 30, verse 5. It says, thus says Yahweh, we heard a voice of trembling of fear and not of peace. Yet the people are hearing of a war all over the world. War is in the air. You got Trump talking about what he gonna do to Iran, Russia and Ukraine going at it. You got NATO telling Europe it's time to get ready for a war. Unlike your grandfather and your great father's time, talking about World War III. So everybody's gearing up for war, for this big battle. And you Americans worrying about what the hell where you gonna party at tonight. Jake on the phone trying to get that sack or whatever he like to smoke on and shoot in his veins. Who knows, man? A nigga right now is doing 100 miles an hour trying to get to the house to put Call of Duty on. Get on that damn game. So you caught up in all kind of foolishness. And you about to get swept up. You about to get swept up in this flood, man. This flood of troops that's getting ready to come through. You're about to be even with the ground. Because there's no peace in the earth right now. You got those monks walking around the various cities talking about they walking for peace. Well, I'm here to tell you, man, you might as well just go back to the house, and save your energy and think of something else to do with your time, because it's not going to happen. We're not going to get peace till Yahweh Shah comes back and knock this man out of power. That's the only time we're going to experience peace. Until then, it's strictly war. It's strictly war, man. And they all on TV, Ukraine and Russia, and the U.S. talking about, oh, we trying to broker peace deals. But as you see, it's been going on. This charade been going on for a while. That there's no peace coming out of this. It's just something to keep you massive, hoping that they're gonna come to a peace agreement, man. But they're not. It's only gonna spiral out of control, because guess what? Putin has moved that arsenic missile system into Belarus. He getting closer and closer to Europe's doorstep with that missile. Now he don't have to put it in Belarus, but he just sending a signal saying, hey, keep talking shit and talking about you building up troops on our border, and we're gonna shoot these bitches off. And they say that missile is unstoppable, and it could be fitted for nuclear weapons. So there's no time for peace. More like you're going to be blown to pieces. More like it. Verse 6, answer ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned in paleness. So this scripture, this precept is asking, have you ever seen a man in labor, pregnant with a child, going in labor? And the answer is no. It says, wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins Yeah, you're gonna see man hands on their loins, man, shaking with terrible fear. No, you haven't experienced the fear that's getting ready to take place, man. It's gonna be something out of worse than a horror film. You know, you think Stephen King, came up with some shit. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till you see the most high power who created the heavens and the earth come up with something, man. Wait till you see his movie. And you're gonna see it in 4K, 5K, 20K, man. And it's gonna be the most horrible thing you ever seen in your life. The most gruesome. It's like pure mayhem right here in America, man. Try to shoot it out, stab it out with somebody, fight it out. Bunch of cannibals out here running the raping gangs. They're gonna have raping gangs out here. They're gonna have all kind of cannibals out here, man. Just wait till the lights go out and if the economy collapses. They're gonna have all kind of. I mean, it's gonna be pure carnage out here. Because the sentiment is it's like this now, man. Everybody's mad. They see Trump is playing games. He ain't really getting nothing done. He just been talking a whole lot of shit. He's a great talker, man. And people seeing it this go around. They saying, you know what? We not paying taxes, man. So you got sedition, in the brewing. That's all been prophesized. So we in that season of prophecy, you know? And it's all coming to a head. Because like I said, the American people finally realized they've been duped. And they not giving Trump 3 more years, man. He got to do some shit now. But he's up there partying, having a grand old time up there, man. Every time you see him, he got a tux on and throwing all kind of parties for the billionaires and the donors, you know? And your everyday citizen needs something to eat, man. Bills sky fucking high. And so you got sedition brewing among men. And we already know what they're going to do according to the scriptures when that happens. They're going to come round up these politicians and these special interests, man. They're going to come round them up and they're going to demand answers. So 2026 is looking real good. It's looking real good, man. Hey, it's all about prophecy, man. If we looking right down the face of this shit, man, we might be soon out of here. We might be soon out of here. You got guys like Nick Fuentes cutting up on Trump, man, which he could be paid opposition. But the thing is, the Lord's using him to stir up the people. Nick is stirring the people up and tell them what they want to hear. And they ready to go up in the Capitol. You think January 6th or something. The scriptures, saying, hey, that's gonna be like a dress rehearsal. It's gonna be up there, bro. I gotta get my damn jacket. It's kind of freezing. Hold on. So that's what they call it. Yeah. A tax revolt. A tax revolt's brewing. So you getting sedition among men. They saying fuck the government, man. And that's right on time, bro. That's right on time. See the moving last time. Now we getting ready to pull up, like they say. It's about to be up there because America can't go on for can't go on for long, man. You know, I believe they said Trump didn't even pass any infrastructure bills last year, and that's an indicator that the country's done. When you stop putting money into your infrastructure, that's the signs of decay, and that hey man, it's over, man. Because just like Rome did, when they infrastructure started crumbling, you could just ride around the city and just see how bad the infrastructure is, man. You might as well be in damn Haiti, man. I wouldn't be surprised if dirt roads look better than a lot of this shit over here. Better keep, they scared. Better keep going. I wouldn't be surprised, if this was the year, if 2026 was the spiritual number, man, 2026. Because come July 4th, it's going to be 250 years. And they say every empire, not every empire, but the average empire lasts about 250 years. And America's knocking on that door. Because all these other places fail. Rome, Greece, Syria, Babylon, Egypt, all those places fail, man. They all fail, collapsed. And so what makes America any different? If Rome fails, anything can fall. Especially Egypt. If those two can fall, anything can fall, man. America's no different. Because the debt is like what, 38, 39 trillion dollars in debt. There's no paying that back. The debt is sky high. The infrastructure is crumbling. The music's trash. The music is straight garbage now. And the people are just degenerates. So we're at the end of a civilization. It's a lot of degenerate behavior going on out here. So all these are signals, and signs of the end of a civilization, of an empire, man. I can go on and on about that. But we're gonna get back on subject though. So let's read that over. Jeremiah 30:6. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Yeah, because that's from a paralyzing fear, man. All faces turn into paleness. All you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans in here in America, your face is gonna turn pale. Gut clenching, paralyzing fear you're gonna feel when these troops hit these streets, because you're gonna be the target. You are the number one target. So-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native Americans, who are the true biblical Israelites. Your asses are gonna be the target when these troops hit the street. and they giving the go orders, man. Kill y'all asses. It's not gonna be over. See if you can save a couple of them, which a couple is gonna make it, the elect. But if you're not on that list, you're not gonna make it. Because Esau supposedly has a red and blue list, on people he want to get rid of and keep. Or the Most High has a list too. He has the elect, which is the 1/3, and he has the wicked, the 2/3, man, the non-elect. And every single 2/3 here in America is going to be counted to the slaughter, man. And it's just that simple. You're going to, be in a world of hurt, Jake. There's no other way of putting it, man. You're going to be in a world of hurt, man. And you're not going to be able to lie your way out of it, beg your way out of it, if you're not on that list, man. You niggas like to brag about being on the VIP list. Well, you got to get on the Most High's list in order to be VIP to make it out of this to what's coming. And then at that, some of the elect are going to have to go through some things, man. Because there's going to be some men, or there's going to be beheaded. Lord willing, I'm of that number. We're going to have to go through some things too, man. We're going to see you getting your brains blown out, man. We're going to have to see you getting your ass ran over by a tank, Oh, don't do me that. Or walking up on you and seeing some cannibals on you, man. Pulling your guts out of your stomach, man. Getting ready to make some damn chitlins out of your ass, man. We're going to have to witness this type of stuff. We're going to have to see men and women getting raped. Hearing the screams, seeing people being killed right before front of your eyes, man. That's what's going to happen. We're going to see you and hear you screaming, man. And you don't think that's going to mess with a man of the Lord a little bit? Not enough to come save you, but, we're going to have to hear it, man. We're going to have to hear the men, the women, and the children screaming, man. So it's gonna be something very Israelite here, man. It's gonna be an experience out this world. Verse 7, at last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. So it says, at last, for that day is great, and so that none is like it. So there's no other day in recorded history that's gonna outdo this day that the Lord has set, known as Jacob's trouble. Slavery is gonna be like a walk in the park. The Civil War, the Jewish-Roman wars, the Vietnam War, the Crusades, all that's gonna look like a walk in the park compared to what's coming. Any kind of war, any kind of battle is gonna be nothing compared to this day. World War I, II, nothing, man. Nothing's gonna outdo Jacob's trouble. It. Woo, shit. And a nigga wanna play, man. Wanna play games. You wanna play games with Yahweh Shemel Shah. You wanna market stuff, and point at his men like that's supposed to hurt us, man. You know, I've been doing this so long. I don't care what you think, man. I don't care what you think. I don't care about the laughing, the scoffing. It don't even bother me anymore. You walk by looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm looking at you walk by looking at you like you crazy, man. So it go both ways. You know, it's a two-way street. You look weird to me. You know, if you ain't doing what I'm doing, if you're a male, a man that comes from that tribe, man, from the Israelites, you know, because you commanded to do this. You know, so you looking crazy, and I'm looking crazy too, man. Like Amigo that time, Iscarite, I believe it was Iscarite, so-called Mexican. He was talking about no one is listening to you. You know, your own people not listening to you. You think I care about that, man? The Most High told me before I even come out here and start preaching that nobody was gonna listen to me. And then you think you coming up here and telling me something like, "Oh, okay, I'm just gonna go home and put it up. I'm not gonna do this no more. Nobody listening to me. You know, I'm gonna go home and cry. Like this, I'm gonna cry in the car, right? You know, like get the fuck out of here, man. You know, the Lord told me nobody was gonna listen to me, man, before I even signed up for this. You like, they won't listen to him. I know they're not gonna listen to you. So hey, it comes with the territory. I knew that I read the contract before I came out here, man. You know, I'm not out here. I'm not out here for my own glory, man. You know, I'm not out here to, give a damn what somebody think. You know, I think you crazy. How about that? You know, I think you don't have no damn sense. You know, so that is what it is, bro. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go home when this is all done. I'm gonna forget all about this, man. I'm gonna work on my next lesson and come right back down here again, Lord willing. You know, once I make my lessons and I leave this area, I think about this place at all. You know, I'm not up all night praying for niggas, man. You know, I'm out here for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here for me. I give a damn whether you listen or not. No, but it's okay. You're going to be looking for me one day. The Lord's gonna have it a day, a way to like you. That you're gonna be walking up and down this sidewalk looking for my ass when they hit the fan. And guess what? I'm gonna be nowhere near here, man. I'm gonna be far, far away from here. Cause when it kicks off, I'm not coming down here and thinking about y'all, man. You know, I'm out here as long as it takes. Until that famine of the word hits. Once I get the word that I no longer need to come out here on these highways and byways, I'm not gonna be, oh Lord, please, Lord, let me go back out there. Maybe just one person I could reach. Hell no. I'm gonna be the water, call halal, Yahweh Shem Yahweh. No, I'm gonna be foaming at the mouth happy, man. Like they said, I'm gonna be hysterical. But I ain't gotta come out here, man. No, you know? And believe me, we fastly approaching that day. No, it's gonna make me happy, and I'm sure as hell it's gonna make you happy, man. So it is what it is. Let's go on. It says, verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Yeah, so the elect is going to be saved out of it. You know, Lord willing, I'm of that number. You know, you're going to be saved out of it, man. You know, you're going to, you know, escape all the set perils, man. You're going to escape them, man. You know, you might have to step over some dead bodies, but or walk on top of some dead bodies, but hey, it is what it is. You know, you might have to witness, you know, grandmama getting her shit blown open, man. You know, I might have to see my neighbors getting dragged out the house by troops, man. You know, because they're gonna come and lock these cities down, and they're gonna come rounding you people up. You know? These troops are gonna come round you up, man. They're gonna drag you out of your house, put you out there by the front porch, and put 2 or 3 in your head, man, and throw you in the pile with the rest of the people. And then they're gonna run in your house and steal all your shit, man. Are you laying there leaking? You know, you got that pair of J's that you've been saving for a special occasion. One of them troops is gonna take it and say, "Damn, I've been wanting a pair of these for the longest," and, and throw his shit in the truck, man, and ride out. You know, he's gonna take them J's and they're gonna have your jersey on. You know, they're gonna have your gold in there. Hey, they're gonna take that. They're gonna say, "Give me this shit, man. You don't need this." You know, he just blew your brains wide open all over the front porch. No, you ain't coming back. You know, we're gonna get to that too. Matter of fact, let's get right to it. So this is second address 15 and 15. It says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. So the modern day sword, will be considered the gun, man. It says, and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So you're gonna have people out here fighting against one another, man. Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal. You know, just to name a few. Libertarian. You're gonna be out here fighting against each other, man. Shooting it out. Like they say, shooting it out in the streets, man. You're gonna have a fucking shootout in the street. So you're gonna be fighting one another, man. It says, well, there shall be sedition among men. So there's gonna be sedition among men, and it's already brewing. Like I was speaking about earlier, how a tax revolt is brewing. So you got people getting fed up with Taco Trump, and they talking about starting a tax revolt. You know, they say they don't want to pay these taxes since all the Somalis getting all the money and all the politicians. So they like, fuck it. Let's just not pay taxes. So you got sedition among men brewing. It's it says in invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. So yeah, the kings, your presidents, your senators, your governors, but they said they're not gonna regard them, man. Your mayors, these men gonna want answers in that day, and women too. They're gonna be in these vigilante groups, and they're gonna march on whatever elected official and ask them, where's the goddamn money at, man? Where's the money? Why did the economy collapse? I thought you supposed to be in control, man. I thought you was going up to Washington on our behalf for the people. And then, they're gonna get that stupid explanation. I know, I know, I know, I know. I'm sorry, it's not me. It's the Republicans. Then they're gonna say, oh, go to somebody else and say, oh no, it's not me. It's the Democrats. And then they just gonna say, you know what? We ain't playing that game, man. They just gonna let's let the scripture say it. Let's come on. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Yeah, because it's gonna be pure lawlessness out here, man. And these people, they're gonna take the law into their own hand. It's gonna be judge, jury, and executioner on spot. They're gonna walk up to that politician and they're gonna say, hey man, you got 10 seconds to explain to us what the hell did happen. And you get to stuttering, and that ain't gonna work, man. They ain't gonna want to hear that blaming shit. It's the Republicans, it's the Democrats. I tried to get it passed, try to get the bill passed, and you just gonna hear clack, 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 clack. you know, to where they done dumped the whole mag out, man. And you're gonna hear click, 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 click. They're gonna fill you politicians up with magazines, man. Just a mag dump. You know? So this is what the scriptures are speaking about, that people are fed up. And and now I'm seeing I'm watching the videos every night, every week, and believe me, they turning up. But nobody's really gonna turn up until the economy finally collapses. Martial law declared, and then it's gonna be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man, all over the damn country. You're gonna have people. What was that guy named? Damn, what was that dude named? Skeletor, I believe. Was it Skeletor? Damn, I forget that nigga name though. But he was on some crazy type shit. You're gonna have a bunch of them out here, man. Just out here. Hey man, like I said, it's gonna be pure lawlessness out here. And you got these militias. They gonna gear up, man. They are going to gear up. They're gonna lock and load, like they say. And they ain't coming to hunt. So this is what this scripture is speaking about. So you can sit around and think I'm just talking shit. But you're soon gonna find out the hard way. And when you find out, it's gonna be too late. It's gonna be too late. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Yeah, you're going to desire to go to the next city, whether it's Baton Rouge, Atlanta, Houston, Gulfport. It don't matter, man. Your ass is going to desire to go into that city, and you ain't going to be able to go because it's going to be martial law out here, man. It's going to be martial law out here. You know? It's going to be fucking martial law. And you ain't going to be able to leave your damn city. Wherever you get locked down at, you going to have to ride it out right there, man. You know, you're going to have to tough it out right there. You know, when the food stop running, truck stop running, the water's off, the power off, you're going to see people just have fucking mental breakdowns. You know, they went crazy during the lockdown. Just imagine when martial law declared. Hey, it's gonna some people won't have breakdowns and it's gonna turn other people into killers, man. You know, you might have a nerd that ain't never killed nobody in his whole life. But once he see, hey, it's only the strong survive, you might turn into the biggest killer it is, man. You know? Like I told that one guy that was homeless, he walked out here talking to me one day, you know, on that Jesus tip. I told him, I said, hey man, you might have your own group. People might be coming to you soon for help because you living on the streets. You know how to survive out here on these streets. You know, your average person, you know, most Americans don't even know how it is to miss a meal, man. You always had something to eat. But a lot of these guys that's living on these streets, you know, they're gonna be the ultimate survival person that you want to deal with. Ultimate survivalists. You know, they can weather the elements, you know, but you get somebody who can't even damn change their own tire on their car, man. They gonna lose it. You know, you're gonna be the first to go in that first wave. Because in the first wave, you got the children, the elderly, and the sickly, man. You know, the small, very small children that can't fend for themselves. Them the first to go in the first wave, man. You know, that second wave start getting into, you know, still in the kid area. You know, they can still walk, you know, and keep up with the crowd, man. But then you start getting in that third wave, man. It's survival of the fittest up there. You know, you got to be a bad motherfucker, man. Or you going to get clicked in with a good group. Because if you think you're gonna make it on your own out here, you ain't gonna make it. You're gonna have to get clicked in with a group in order to survive what's coming. You know, if you don't have Yahweh Shemi Yahushua on your side, man, if you don't have the Lord on your side, you ain't making it out of this. You know? So, but the scripture does speak about, okay, you survive the famine, the perils, roughly paraphrasing that precept. You're gonna survive all that, which some people are, man. It's gonna be I don't know the exact amount, but it's gonna be an amount of people that do survive all that, man. Gonna survive the martial law, Jacob's trouble. You're gonna make it through that. but you're not going to escape the missiles, man. You're not going to escape the thermonuclear ICBM missiles when this World War III goes hot. You know, so if the Lord save you for that, you know, I skip a step. You know, and if you make it through the hour of temptation, the MOTB, man, the mark of the beast. If you make it through that and all that, just to make it to the missiles, you know, the Lord had it out for you. You know, He let you go through all that just to burn you alive, man. You know, so we fastly approaching that. You know, we fastly approaching that day. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So yeah, the cities are gonna be troubled. You know, these cities are gonna be on fire, military strikes, you know, air strikes, drone strikes on your neighborhood, your cities. You know, and it says houses shall be destroyed. Yeah, they're gonna burn your shit down. Gonna burn your houses down, you know, because your ass gotta go into a 15-minute city, man. You just ain't gonna be able to live on such and such street like you used to. You're like, oh, I got a $800,000 house. And say they don't give a damn. We're gonna burn that motherfucker down, man. You gotta go into these smart cities, these 15-minute cities. So they're gonna destroy your house one way or another. So they bulldoze it or burn it down. Or like I said, they might just do a damn airstrike on your whole hood, man. Think about what they did to Gaza, but move it over to here, man. Go find you some clips, some videos on how they leveled Gaza. Just think about your neighborhood looking like that. It says, and men shall be afraid. Hell yeah, you're gonna be afraid. It's gonna sound like Afghanistan all over again. You know, I had a partner of mine. He went over there and worked on the military bases, man, when the war had first kicked off. You know, he was telling me how they was fucking blowing. They was cutting up over there in Afghanistan and Fallujah, man. He was like, he could just hear that shit, and he was on the base, man, like miles away, and he could just hear it, the explosion. He was like, God damn. But just think about that. You hear that go off a couple blocks over from your house, man. Can't help but be afraid. You know, they're gonna level much of this place as they can. And and believe me, you so-called Negroes and so-called Latinos, Native Americans, you at the top of the list to come get. You know, they coming for everybody, but you the top three. You are the top three, man. You know, so you can go up there talking about, oh, I'm a sovereign citizen. You know, I'm a constitutionalist. You know, I'm a freeman. I'm a FBA. You can say whatever you want to. They're gonna fucking barbecue your ass, man. They gonna say, okay, you're what? All right, and just mag dump you, man. You know, you can say, well, I've been here all my life. You can go back 5, 6 generations. Our people came over on the Mayflower, and they gonna say we don't give a damn about none of that, man. We about to fill your ass full of lead, man. You might not even get that. They might just start shooting, man. You know, it's gonna be some wild scenarios going on. You know, it's gonna be some wild scenarios going on. I can't even think about how it's gonna go down. Because whatever I can think of, it's gonna be worse than what I'm saying. You know, on these apocalyptic movies where they show you cannibals, and and people in survival mode, man. They've been programming you trying to program you. You Americans so damn stupid. You just think it's a nice movie, man. But they letting you know that that's getting ready to hit here on the shores of America, man. It's gonna be Mad Max, fucking 8.0, man. It's gonna be Mad Max 8.0 out here. And in the midst of all that chaos going on, you're gonna have the US military on the streets, man, running you up. They have NATO troops, UN troops, mercenaries. Scripture about how they're gonna be like madmen, sparing none. Because what these troops do, they get on them drugs, man, and they just start killing, man. You gotta have a different kind of mindset. They're gonna be on all kind of type of narcotics. The Lord's gonna put a spirit on them so bad. They said they're gonna be like madmen, and they don't care if you're damn illegal or legal. They're gonna put you to death. Yeah, your own U.S. military is gonna come round you up, man. They already getting the training down there in the quarter now. You know, they learning how to read you civilians, man. They down there, they all over the country, man, getting training. Because who is it? Pete Hegseth, he said, what, by April, you need these National Guard units to be ready, like 500 in each state or each city or something like that. I think state. He said they need to be ready and equipped to handle mass rioting, man. I think April. Some people said January, but I never could find anything in an article saying January. But I did recall him saying like April that the National Guard units need to be ready for riot control by April. So what does he know? He know they getting ready to come round your ass up, man. They expecting some big event to happen. Whether it's a false flag terrorist attack, because they pumping that up. They talking about Muhammad and them is getting ready to do a bombing or some shit, or they might collapse the economy. Who knows what these elite got planned? But one thing I do know, they coming to get your ass, man. They coming to get you. That I do know. I don't know which one they gonna go with first. To start that domino effect. You know, so who knows, man? They've been putting all kind of shit in the media. You know, terrorist attacks. You know, they got the training gunmen. You know, they got that. You know, they steady talking about the economy collapsing. You know, they saying Russia or Run gonna do something. So who knows what they're gonna go with first? But believe me, this they getting ready to go with they move. You know, the elite. You know, I'm talking about the people. Let's let this damn shit pass by. Man, I've been seeing paramedics all day, man. I guess people that went too hard on January the 2nd. Like you still got the rest of the year, man. Might want to slow it down. You know, but like I said, the elite, you know, what's his face exposed it. You know, what's his name? Charlie Kirk. He said, "Hey, look, you got Congress, you know, and everything. You know, it's like the peanut gallery. You know, they make you feel like you got a like a choice in the matter, and then pretty much they like the buffer." He said, "But above them is a super government that controls them and tell them, you know, you need to pass this, you need to get this done. You know, and above the super government, you got the intelligence agencies who run everything. Man, they run the country. CIA, FBI, NSA, things of that. You know, military. They run the country, man. Not not these knuckleheads you see on TV calling themselves politicians, man. Calling your elected official. You know, FBI, DEA, CIA. That who actually who controls and runs the country. And you all on writing letters to your congressman, you know, talking about, oh, it's not fair, this, that, and the third. And, you know, we elected you to do this for us. You know, they don't give a damn what you say, man. They got people controlling them. You know, your official got all kind of blackmail on them. Whether they corrupt or they, you know, they got some kind of blackmail on them, man. You can't be up there in Washington and you ain't got no dirt on you. You know, you got people like Lindsey Graham that been in there for years and years and years. Man, you don't get into that club and stay up there that long, and you working on behalf of the people. You know, you compromised, and that's what they like. And you already know who they working for too. Tiny hats, man. That's like 90% of it right there. The tiny hats. Like they say, tiny hats equals big problems, man. You know, small hats equals big problems. And they pretty much control the country, man. So you can write you a letter as long as fucking Canal Street, talking about how mad you are with the Republicans and how mad you are with the Democrats. You're just wasting your ink, man. You know, you got but everybody keeps saying the deep state, but it's actual who actually runs everything above them is the Federal Reserve, man. The Fed controls everything. They set policy. you know. So you got the bankers who run the board, and your politician is cheap, man. You know, they are cheap. You know, the Fed can just punch some numbers in, man. And you can't break the bank. And you know, they already printed $38 trillion worth of debt. So it's nothing to buy your local politician off, man. And if they don't get in line, hey, they asses won't get elected. You know, you think you going down there and electing these damn politicians, man. All that shit rigged, you know? All that shit's rigged. And let's say you do elect somebody, all right? When they get up there to DC, they're gonna play ball, you know? They're gonna tell you you either gonna get down with your party and do what the party say, or you gonna get your ass out of here, man. You know? It is what the party say. And then within the party, you got the career politicians that been there. Then you got the lobbyists, the special interests, you know? Man, you like they say, drain the swamp. You can't drain the swamp, man. You cannot drain the swamp. It's too big. You know? You can't drain it. So you got people got this revolt brewing, man. They say they don't want to pay taxes. You know, which is true. Everybody getting paid, but the American citizen, man. They even giving the illegals saying, "Hey, we'll give you $3,000 if you leave." But they keep telling us, you know, your check is in the mail. You know, we working on getting you $2,000. It went from 5 to 3 to 2. You know, oh shit. You know, they keep saying, "Oh, you're gonna have the biggest refund in history." But they telling Pedro and them, "Hey, we'll give you $3,000 right now if you just leave." But let your everyday American citizen go up there, you know, work, pay bills, always been paying taxes. You go up there and ask for $3,000. See what happens. They're gonna call the fucking Capitol Police on your ass, man, and have you escorted out of there. So this place is done, man. This place is done. And like I said, man, you can go watch the clips. I watched them the other night where they having a ball down there in Mar-a-Lago. You know, they down there dancing it up, eating good, partying. You know, probably having all kind of orgies down there and everything, man. You know, Trump is a party animal, man. You know, he down there hitting the Trump dance. You know, however that shit go. He down there hitting the Trump dance down there at Mar-a-Lago. You know, lined his pocket, got him a jet. I think they said his shit then grew $1 billion or something like that. You know, so hey, that's why these people getting ready to revolt. And these troops that I'm talking about, man, and the Secretary's 15 are getting in line, man. They getting set up because they know what's coming. And so you're gonna be you're gonna desire to go into a different city, but you ain't gonna be able to, Jake. You ain't gonna be able to go up there and see your big mom, or you ain't gonna be able to hop on a plane and go see your mom. You know, wherever you get locked down, whether you're on vacation or not, when that happens, your ass gonna get locked down in that city, and that's where your ass might die, man. You know, you just might die there. Verse 19, verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Yeah, you're not gonna have any pity upon your neighbor, man. You're gonna know he got them those those ramen noodles in there. You know you keep a whole stash of ramen noodles and canned goods in your house. So guess what? You're gonna go next door and come get that shit. You know, he gonna walk in the house, he gonna see you with that ramen cup, you know, or you got some canned goods or something. Or even if you think you got it, just gonna walk in there and put you to death and take it. You're like, man, we've been neighbors for X amount of years, man. You're like my brother. You're my best friend. And that stomach gonna be growling. You ain't ate in 6, 7 days. You just gonna say, boom, you know, or stab him to death. Whatever you take him out. You know how they say in the movies, if they walk up on him and say, "Oh man, sorry, but I gotta eat too." Mm. No, my family gotta eat. And you definitely got to watch out with people with children, man. And you got neighbors with kids. They gonna put you to death to feed them babies, man. They gonna tell you to, they gonna tell you limb from limb to get some food in them babies' stomachs, man. I have to say, you know, they gonna put you to death, man. I know my neighbor on the side of me, he got like 3 little ones. Right? I was wondering, I'm like, you do it by herself. Right? I, I'm like, this ain't the city to do that. You know, right? This ain't the city for that. It's the worst side over here. So yeah, man, they gonna tell you limb from limb to get food in the kid's belly, man. Like I said, I got a neighbor, he got 3 small ones. And I already know he come next door playing with me. I ain't even talking to him, bro. You know, if I'm even there, but I'm gonna put 3 in him, man. I'm gonna get him out the way quick. You know, I ain't gonna even fucking open the door. I'm just gonna shoot right through the door, man. Mm, mm, mm. 'Cause I already know what he want, man. A man ain't ate in 6, 7 days, and his kids ain't ate in 6, 7 days, man. He's gonna do whatever he need to do to feed his kids, and I'm gonna do what I need to do to make sure nothing happened to me. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm gonna make sure. You know, so I'm gonna do him quick. Like I said, man, it's gonna be survival of the fittest. You know, hey, we coming into some times, man. We coming straight into those times. And as a man of the Lord, you might have to do some wild shit, man. You know, you might have to put some people to death. You know, you just might have to. But believe that, it's my life or your life. And believe me, it's gonna be your life every time. Every time. Yeah, I think you got my neighbor right here. He got small kids. You go out to you got another dude. He got like 3 kids, small kids. I ain't playing no games with him, bro. Not one. I don't want to talk or nothing. You know, I'm just gonna put you out your misery, bro. I'm just gonna put you out your misery if it come down to that. Let's go on. Verse 19: A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. So your neighbor's gonna run in your house with his gun, man, and take your shit because he needs to eat, his wife needs to eat, and his kids need to eat. And believe me, they know what you got, man. They know you always grilling every weekend. You know, they see dominoes coming in and out the house. They know you keep that 75 piece on the weekend. You know, so he gonna be thinking about. I know this motherfucker got something to eat. You know, man ain't ate in 5, 6, 7 days. You ain't gonna be able to tell him otherwise, man. You gonna have to kill him, man. Shit, man or woman. It says, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, with the gun, and spoil their goods. Yeah, they gonna take their shit because the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Yeah, because there's gonna be no food trucks running, man. Trucks gonna sit down. There'll be no food. You're gonna have to eat roadkill. You're gonna have to eat out the dumpster, the landfill, whatever the case may be. Yeah, you're gonna have to eat your neighbor, man. You gonna barbecue little Tyrone up, man. You know, you're gonna have that last little bottle of barbecue sauce and with that corner in there, and you're going to make it stretch, man. You're going to make it work. So you're going to eat your neighbor, man. They say about the 13th, 14th day, you turn to straight cannibalism, man. You go 13, 14 days without eating, you'll eat anything or anybody. So that's what it's gonna come down to. Yeah, you're gonna have to make a decision because you got to eat your own kids tonight. Do you kill yourself, kill your kids, or do you eat your kids and you go on? You gonna have to make those type of decisions. Or you're gonna be looking at your wife, like, hey, baby, I love you, but I gotta get rid of your ass. I gotta eat. So that's what's the 2/3 you're gonna have to face, man. If you don't have the protection, or you how about Shimei Shah with you, man? You gonna have to make those type of decisions and believe me, it ain't gonna take long either. They get busy around here. on the first or second day if ain't no food coming in. You know, that's one thing about motherfuckers down here. They don't waste no time. They ain't gonna be sitting in the house no fucking week without eating. I give these niggas a day, 12 hours. They gonna be in your shit. I give these niggas a good 6 hours, man. They gonna be in your shit, man. And for great tribulation. Yeah, it's gonna be great tribulation out here, man. You know, and these troops on the street are getting ready to gear up for it, man. They getting the training now. You know, and you people are gonna have to deal with it, man. You are going to have to deal with it. You know, but hey, man, I'm gonna go ahead and end it on that before I get out of here. Give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kafadas, and Lord willing, be out here next week.